So we can divide our elements into three main categories: metals, nonmetals, and metalloids, which is what we did in lab. So before we get to exactly what materials from lab were each of these categories, we are going to talk about some of the properties. And we observed many of these properties during lab. So first we're going to start with metals. Metals, when we look at them, we notice that they are shiny. So metals have a shiny appearance. We also tested their conductivity. Metals can conduct electricity. Are also good conductors of heat, but we tested their conductivity of electricity. So metals can conduct electricity. We also noticed that metals are malleable. And remember, malleable means that we can bend them. They're bendy. We can also say that metals are ductile. Ductile is similar to malleable. Ductile just means that you can draw it out into a wire. We can make wires out of metals. We do that all the time. So metals are shiny, they're conductive, they're malleable and ductile, and then finally they are reactive. With some of our metals, we saw an immediate reaction with hydrochloric acid. Some of the metals, if we had let them sit, we would have seen over time a clearer reaction with hydrochloric acid. But our metals are reactive. Our metals also happen to be our most common type of element that we have. So when you're looking at the periodic table, and we'll get to that in a minute, most of the elements are metals. So we're going to look at the other end of the spectrum, and we're going to look at nonmetals. Nonmetals have very different properties from metals. If metals are shiny, nonmetals are dull. So all of our nonmetals are not shiny at all. Our nonmetals are not conductive. Non-conductive means that they don't conduct electricity. Our nonmetals are not, you can't bend them, you can't make them into wires. They are brittle. They will break if you try to bend them. And then finally, if metals are reactive, our nonmetals are non-reactive in their elemental form. So our metals and our nonmetals have pretty much opposite properties. If our metals are shiny, our nonmetals are dull, they're not shiny. Our metals are conductive, our nonmetals are not conductive. Our metals are malleable, they can bend. Our nonmetals are brittle, they're going to break. Our metals are reactive, our nonmetals are not reactive. So then our last category is a metalloid. And a metalloid really has a blend of the properties of a metal and a nonmetal. Just like a metal, metalloids are shiny. Also like a metal, they are conductive. They may not be as conductive as a true metal, but they can conduct electricity. So those are the two properties that metalloids have in common with metals. With nonmetals, they are brittle. So they're going to break, they don't bend, and they are also non-reactive. So we're not going to see our metalloids react with hydrochloric acid.